Cook.
Here.
Peter.
Here.
McIntyre.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any agenda deletions or corrections? Okay. Seeing none, our first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion today. Claims, I have a claims figure of $2,372,458.17. B, we have a fringe benefit amount of $125.33. Minutes to approve. October 19, 2021, regular meeting. October 26, 2021, closed session. October 26, 2021, special meeting. October 26, 2021, work session. D, approve 6-month pay increase for Thomas Eggenberger effective November 3, 2021. E, approve 6-month pay increase for Cutter Nelson effective November 3, 2021. F, approve 6-month pay increase. G, approve step increase for Richard Boatwright effective November 1, 2021. H, approve conservation website redesign. Estimated total $5,295. I, approve amendment to DCAT 5-20-003 community support contract between Iowa Department of Human Services and Warren County. J, approve 28E agreement for county electronic services system. K, set a public hearing for approval of revised Chapter 1 Code of Ordinances, Warren County Code of Ordinances for 6:05 p.m. November 16, 2021. Second public hearing, 9:35 a.m. December 7, 2021. Third public hearing, 6:05 p.m. December 21, 2021. L, set public hearing for codification of the 2020 Warren County Code of Ordinances, 6:05 p.m. December 21, 2021. M, set a public hearing for consideration of utility easements requested by Central Iowa Power Cooperative across property owned by Warren County, Iowa, and managed by Warren County Conservation Board for 6:15 p.m. November 16, 2021. Do we have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cook.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 2 on our agenda is a public hearing set for 9:35, and I think we're awfully close. I've got 9:34 and change. This is a public hearing regarding a rezoning application submitted by Mark Ogden, 14659 180th Avenue, Milo, Iowa, 50166, for land from A1 to C2. And
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Cook.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye.
And I do have 9:35, so we're right on time. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning. Okay, so Mark wishes to rezone a 3.191 acre piece of ground from A1 to C2 for the purpose of obtaining a vehicle dealer's license from the DOT to do light auto repairs and selling of vehicles. Will the proposed district be benefit to the general public? I went on the line on that. Is the location of this in accordance with the land use plan and policies? No. Could it be considered spot zoning? Yes. Will the proposed district maintain or protect property values of adjacent landowners? I went on the line. Is the time, schedule, and type of development considered within the proposed district reasonable? I said not applicable, because he said he wouldn't be building any new buildings, he's using existing buildings. Does the proposed district correspond to the area of proposed development? No. Will the proposed district be in accord with the intent, purpose, and spirit of the land use plan and policies? No. cause this all calls for agricultural. Will the district be located at least a quarter mile from any existing livestock feed lot with more than 500 head or poultry farm housing more than 5,000 fowl? Yes. Does it at least 75% of the property in the proposed district have a CSR of 55 or less? Not applicable. The CSR rating giving on 3.19 acres piece of ground, there's no CSR on that because it's residential, it's zoned agricultural, but it's taxed residentially, so there's no CSR on that. There's no floodplain and conservation in that area. The utilities, it's existing home and buildings, so there's a supply of wastewater, water supply and wastewater treatment. They do meet the requirements of the Board of Health. The telephone and gas is already there. Will the existing roads and bridges providing access to the proposed district be adequate to serve this development in accordance with the requirements and standards of the engineer? On gravel depends what his plans were for sales and repairs and the traffic it generates. So the classroom capacity and the parks were not applicable either. Does this development within the proposed district minimize soil erosion, dust, and surface water runoff during and after construction in accordance with the requirements and standards of the Warren County engineer? Yeah, there's no new construction, but an auto dealer and repair shops, they have to work with certain entities to deal with their waste materials. So I'm sure he was in business in Des Moines before, so I'm sure he would know if this was rezoned. I'm sure he knows what entities he would have to work with on that. Is the proposed district outside of Roachland's not applicable? And there's no new construction for the question 21. And it's not in an urban expansion area either. So Mark called our offices before purchasing this property, and we had multiple discussions about the license that he wants to obtain through the state DOT and other businesses or others who wanted our office to sign these letters for the DOT. When we do sign these letters for the DOT, they have had to have a C2 zoning, or some have even gone to industrial, and they've had to go through the rezoning process. I talked to him about this parcel and the location, how it could be viewed as spot zoning. A lot of those parcels were more on paved roads, but he purchased the property anyway, and he wanted to pursue the rezoning request. He operates a business, he operated an auto repair business in Des Moines, and he stated that he was retiring and he wanted to slow down. Staff felt there needed to be more, many questions answered regarding his plans and what he planned to do on the property. He stated it was for hobby, but still some side repairs. My thought was, do you do it with restrictions? Zoning cannot sign a DOT letter without C2 zoning, but is this the best location? Recommend that hearing all evidence, and know the applicant was cautioned about purchasing before approval. It was my suggestion that maybe he purchase it contingent upon the rezoning approval. But he did show up in our office and said he purchased it and then asked for the rezoning. So, and we do have the, we did include the emails back and forth in regards to that. And Mark is not here with us today. So his son is here, Justin, so he's gonna represent him. So at the zoning hearing, the motion was by Kane, and it was seconded by Meadows. And the motion was to recommend the rezoning of A1 to C2 to the Board of Supervisors, subject to 4 conditions. When the property is sold by the current owner, it reverts back to A1. 2, no more than 8 cars to be publicly displayed, and they must be at least 160 feet from the road. 3, the business will be primarily internet sales, 50% or more. 4, no public signage. And that motion was voted, that comes to you with 2 voted to approve that motion and 3 denied that motion. So it really comes to you with a recommendation of denial from the zoning commission. So there was no public present at that meeting, and we didn't have any happened prior to the meeting for the zoning, and we didn't have any public time practice before this meeting either, so.
If you'd like to come up, state your name and address.
My name is Justin Ogden, for GDE Union, 14659 180th Avenue, Milo, Iowa, 50166.
Thank you. You heard our zoning director. It looks like the planning and zoning gives us a recommendation denial on a 3-2 basis. Can you state your reasoning and rationale, and what maybe your father's take was regarding the restrictions that at least 2 out of the 3 proposed?
Okay. So pretty much what we were trying to get changed into C2 from agriculture A1 was all the stipulations that they applied was the 4 things: the 160 feet, X amount of cars, no signage, no new construction. In order for that to take place, the Iowa DOT needs it to be C2. So we were just trying to figure out what we had to do to make those opposed and make that go through. As far as the Warren County persistence of other companies, I've lived in Warren County for 5 years myself, and all of my neighbors actually have businesses themselves. So when I told my father after he had sold in Des Moines, I said, come to Warren County, pro-business, get it at your home, you got enough land to, make that happen. I said, and so we came before the zoning to get that changed. And most of our business is internet. I mean, we do custom buying, so as far as like, if I go to an auction in Kansas City, you can pick the car up in Kansas City, but the Iowa DOT regulations are you have to do business, conduct all your business at the location of the dealership. So as far as the inventory, most of it would be indoor, nothing out by the road, nothing that's gonna oppose to the actual drive-by traffic, nothing's gonna change, it's all gonna look the same as what it looks now, which I have some photos too, if you'd like to see what it looks like.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I'll take them. Thank you very much. Well, you have sets.
Yeah, just,
All the same?
yeah, they're all the same. And we can just go through these if you guys got a second.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
for one, that's just the frontage road, and you can see from the road in the driveway actually, which would be to the place of business there, which is the building. That's actually exceeds the 160 feet from the road, and you can see back there behind the gas tank, there's 2 vehicles there. That's a concrete slab. There wouldn't even be vehicles on there besides what's there for hours before going into the building. If you go to the second picture, you can see there's a black Suburban backed up to the building there. That is actually where the cars, 2 or 3 vehicles could park there because it's a concrete slab. Although they won't be out there, that's just showing that what it could be, and this will show the driveway leading into the place of business. 3 is just another frontage road picture, it's just showing that from the vehicles to the road is the exceeded distance that you guys proclaimed that you wanted to be from the road. The 4th picture here is showing the inside of the building, which will show that it can store up to 15 cars, which is where most of them will be. There will be an office, there will be desks, there is water, sewer, etc. to make it comfortable to the clients and those who come there to do business wherever they conducted. The 5th photo is just showing the outdoor door going towards the street, so just showing exactly what could be held and what is all be an indoor business essentially. And then that's just pretty much all I have for the photo, showing what it'll look like at all times as it's still a business.
And so there was no objection to the 4 requirements that at least 2 of the 5 planning and zoning members placed upon the business?
No, all of the restrictions that they said, I could fulfill every one of those.
Okay.
And your dad had no problem fulfilling
No,
those that
absolutely
night
not.
either?
My father said that whatever restrictions were said and now, he could fulfill those as well.
Does the board have any questions?
So the business would be a dealership, basically an used car auto
Used car
dealership?
dealership, yes.
And then, would you do maintenance on vehicles and,
We actually have 2 full-time mechanics that have their own shops in Des Moines. We would just do like such as oil changes, stuff like that, if it was needed, like headlight restorations,
from a marketing standpoint, it would just basically be on like an online service, so that's how people would see, like, find you as a potential supplier of their vehicle.
Yes, sir.
They could go through, you do a lot, like, would there be a lot of people coming out looking, driving
No.
vehicles?
No,
It's-
so, and if I can explain for a second, so we've been in business since '87. Most of our business, even now, is 90% internet. We don't get much
Jeez,
drive-by.
it's incredible.
So, which is convenient for people that wanna sit at home that are looking for a specific truck with specific miles or specific color. You know, we travel, so I'll travel to certain auctions, I can let them know what we have to offer. The vehicle can actually be picked up at any location, but the business has to be conducted at the dealership, such as title signing, paperwork, bill of sale, all of that to the Iowa DOT law code.
I think my only objection right now is the spot zoning. I don't think that's something that we really wanna go down that road. Doesn't look like there's gonna be a lot of activity outside, but this has the potential to grow, I can see that. So, in listening to, or reading the transcript, the question was posed, about like doing, and I know Darren Heater just asked you that, but like light mechanic work, like if I had something wrong with my car, could I come to you and you guys could fix it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, alright, good, thank you.
I don't have any additional questions for this gentleman. Is there anyone from the public or online who would like to make a comment or question? Okay. Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to end our public hearing?
I make a motion to, end public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCote.
Aye. Okay, Lindsay, any final thoughts, and then board discussion? None, okay.
I think I would like to speak to Mark about this. I would like to go to a second hearing, so if we could do that.
I agree. I think I just need to learn more and get more information, and it'd be nice to have a second hearing to allow the board time to dive into the details. It would be beneficial for me to do that.
Okay, Don, procedurally, can we just reset a public hearing for this then?
Yes.
I'd like to also have the landowner or the property owner
I'm
here.
gonna set that today for November, yes, 21st.
Do you know if your father has a conflict on the 21st?
That'd be
That's an
fine.
evening meeting.
That'd be 2 weeks from today.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
That should work out fine.
Okay.
The 16th.
Oh, the 16th, okay.
I don't think you want to be here on Sunday.
I do not.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you have any other, I see there's a public hearing set for the 16th at 6:05. So would he be like 6:10, do you think? Yes. Or do you know if we have other hearings? I would set it for 6:20. 6:20, yeah, okay.
Lindsay, is there a way to weed out from the zoning commission, if they're willing to follow all their provisions, why did they vote against it? Was it because of spot zoning? Is that the number one thing that they need to be aware of?
They didn't really give a reason why they voted against it, they just 3 voted no, and, I will tell you, Hugh Kane that made the motion, his biggest thing was if a lot of it's the internet sales, which, you know, the ordinance was done in 1980, and we're in 2021, obviously, internet sales weren't a big thing at that time, so, you know, that sales can be allowed, he was trying to find kind of a workaround for that. They didn't really give a reason why they didn't
Okay,
vote for that.
okay.
Well, so let's do a motion for the 16th.
Yeah, 16th we can do 6:10, so let's do 6:10.
Okay. I'll make a motion to set a public hearing for this rezoning application submitted by Mark Ogden for November 16th at 6:10 p.m. 2021
For second reading.
for second reading.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? I just have a brief discussion comment. I sort of agree this will not be the first internet car sales business in the county. Some of these already exist. I probably suspect some of these exist that are not zoned commercial and probably should be for tax purposes as well as some other things. So I'm not opposed to this. Frankly, I think the building looks very nice.
Yeah.
If they're willing to make a firm commitment to follow the restrictions, I think what people don't want is, I mean, it is spot zoning, let's not make any bones about it. But what I think people don't want is to see, 20 dilapidated cars in various states of repair sitting outside that they have to drive by. I think our county engineer probably doesn't want higher traffic flow on county roads that tear up the roads for the selected benefit of one individual. And then I think there's also probably a little bit of rub on seeking advice before you buy a property. Can this be done? Getting that advice from the county saying this is what would need to happen. Perhaps it'd be wise to make an offer contingent upon it, then plowing forward and then coming back to the board. And now I'm pro-business. I'd like to see it zone commercial for tax purposes and being a business-friendly climate in Warren County and some other reasons, but it does put us in a little more of a sticky bind when those things aren't followed procedurally. So I'm not opposed to it, but I'd like to talk with your dad. I'd like to make sure that neighbors and everyone else has the opportunity to state their piece if they so desire. Our engineer maybe wants to say something too, but that's my discussion.
Yeah, I was at the zoning commission meeting and heard from his father, and normally I'm pretty shocked if someone says business on a gravel road. But in this case, I don't think it's gonna generate more traffic than like a large family residence, cause it's based on what he described, is gonna be foot traffic, where they just fill out the paperwork and a lot of the sales are done off-site.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's more like a large family residence, or 8 to 10 trips a day type deal, but still a good amount, but I'm not particularly concerned in this case.
I appreciate that
Yeah, I
insight.
do too.
So those are the things that are, I'm sort of telegraphing where I'm going with this, but I still like to hear from your dad. So it looks like November 16th, we've got a motion, we've got a second, roll call please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Number 3 on our agenda is public hearing for approval of one of many revised county ordinances. Let's gear up. Stretch if you need to. All right, this one looks like revised chapter 11, policies and level of service in clearance of snow, Warren County Code of Ordinances. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Roll call please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye.
I'm gonna ask that we do chapter 10 first, because it actually is set for
Oh.
10:35, just as the other hearing was. And that's because we had already scheduled the second reading of chapter 10 for 10:35. And so
My-
I'd like to go ahead and proceed with chapter 10, if that's all right with the board.
Yep, my apologies, chapter 10.
Chapter 10 is road classification area service system. Based on the concerns that are expressed by the public during the first reading, the following has been added to the ordinance for the board to consider. In section 10.7, parentheses 1, blading. Blading or dragging will not be performed on a regular basis, and this refers to level B roads. Blading or dragging will be performed a minimum of 2 times per year and on an as-needed basis. With that, we are asking the board to approve the revised chapter 10 and waive the third reading.
motion to approve revised
We're
chapters.
still in public hearing.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, any comments or questions? Perhaps this.
Yes, I would like to thank the board for their consideration regarding this issue for the farmers and those of us that live out there. Thank you.
Well, Marilyn, it won't say it in our ordinance, but this will be the Marilyn Halterman revision to chapter 10. That way you'll live in infamy, but positive infamy.
Thank you.
You bet. Is there anyone else from the public that'd like to make a comment or question? Okay. I'll make a motion to exit public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Do we have a motion regarding the Maryland Halterman revised chapter 10 road classification area service system, Warren County Code of Ordinances?
I'll make a motion to approve the chapter 10 road classification area service systems as written. Do we need to waive readings or
And if you would waive the third reading. yes,
when
please.
waive the third reading?
Yeah, this is our second reading. I'll second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. Next up, we have a public hearing for approval of revised chapter 11 policies and level of service and clearance of snow, Warren County Code of Ordinances. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, we are in public hearing.
We were before you last time regarding this chapter 11 policies and level of service and clearance of snow. The board approved the revised ordinance, however, we failed to waive the second and third reading, so that is why I'm back here before you today. We would like that the board to consider reapproving the ordinance and waiving the third reading.
Understood. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on revised chapter 11? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to exit public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised chapter 11 policies and level of service and clearance of snow and waive the additional third reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. Next up, we have a public hearing regarding a rezoning application submitted by Mike and Mary Lee Vanderpool. 10205 Highway 92, Iowa, Indianola, Iowa 50125 from A1 to C2 and C2 to C2.
Okay, Mike and Marilee Vanderpool own the ground that Better Equipment leases from them for their business. Better Equipment wants to purchase that land that they lease and some additional land that, they would like to own it all and be zoned as C2 so they can build a new building on their property for their continued growth. The Better wishes to expand their business and wants to purchase the ground plus some additional ground from Vanderpool's. The C2 zoning is required for their business and would like to get the C2 zoning in place for all the ground that they plan to purchase prior to their expansion. And Lindsay will work with Charlie at the city of Indianola to coordinate notification of notices. And zoning staff recommends approval of the rezoning from A1 and C2 to C2. The reason it's A1 and C2 to C2 is, the land that Better sits on now is zone C2. And, they're wanting, the additional land that they're buying is A1, so we just wanted to make sure all the land that they're gonna end up with is zone C2. I have worked with Charlie at the city of Indianola, and they have handed it off to the county, for permitting, and they aren't going to require them to come through them for any approval. They're in support of this. Actually, since the last zoning meeting, which we knew might happen, the closing date with, Betters has always leased the land from the Vanderpools, and, the sale has taken place. It took place yesterday. owners now do own the land, this is gonna sit on, and they do have quite an expansion plan for there. So we do recommend approval. We didn't hear anything from any neighbors prior to either hearing. Nobody stopped in or called, so. I know Mike and Marilee are both here today.
Thank you, Lindsay. Are there any comments from the public? Mike or Marilee, would you like to say anything, or all good? Or anyone online? We are in a public hearing. And Lindsay, did I miss the, what was the planning and zoning vote?
5 to 0 to recommend approval.
Okay. Seeing no comments from the public, is there anyone online?
Do you have any further questions as a board?
I don't.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. All right, is there any board discussion on this one?
This is quite aggressive, kind of like it.
Well, my comment will be, when our planning and zoning board recommends something 5-0, when the city that it's relatively adjacent to is in support of it, when no one from the public is apparently against it, and when it probably adds some valuation and furthers business in Warren County, I'm gonna be supportive of it. So, with that, I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning application submitted by Mike and Mary Lee Vanderpool, 10205 Highway 92, Indianola, Iowa, 50125 from A1 to and C2 to C2.
And you can waive second.
And I'll waive second and third reading.
Second.
Is there any discussion? No, but just a quick point of order. I appreciate that Vetter is going this path, that they desire to do a rezone for their own business purposes, and they get it rezoned or work through the proper channels before they make some business moves. That is wise. We've got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. Next up is number 5 on our agenda, another public hearing. This one regarding a review of final plat 2 for Vista Ridge submitted by Land Holding LLC, 12119 Stratford Drive, Suite B, Clive, Iowa, 50325. I've got 10:05, so we're well behind a little on this, but we're good for the public hearing. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Roll.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, we are in public hearing.
Okay, so this is, we're in review of final plat 2 for Vista Ridge. We thought all the paving would be done, but, you know, we had some of that rain, and so it's not 100%. David and I talked to, Brad Cooper last week, and it's David and I's recommendation to maybe just table this until, our next public hearing, which would be at 11/16, it may be 6/15, and have the final plat 2, hearing for that, and Brad was in total agreement. He just thought by then the little loose ends that David would like to see, it give David a chance to get out there and do his final walkthrough, with them, so we just thought that would be best, so. It did come though with a 5-0 recommendation for approval once, you know, all the administrative tasks were completed from the zoning commission, so it's pretty much ready, but just need to get David out there and do that final walkthrough, so that would be our recommendation. Is that correct, David? Yeah. I'm not sure, I don't think we have, are you here for the
Supervisors?
for Vista Ridge?
Yes.
Okay.
Morning, David.
Give a brief update or progress update. They have about, looks like 90% of the paving done, so they're getting close, and I just like to see the ditches shaped afterwards. I'm not particularly concerned about erosion control and seeding at this time. They've been working through all the appropriate channels. They have a permit with the DNR, so they cover their general permit too, like we do for projects that disturb more than an acre. So they're really obligated under that permit to meet those requirements, but like Lindsay said, just tying up some of the loose ends. I mean, they've been good enough to submit compaction tests to our office, and we're able to go out there and do what we call a proof roll and check the sub-base before paving, so they've been doing a great job thus far. We just want to see them cross the finish line.
Okay, we are in a public hearing. Is there any other comments or questions from the public, either in the room or online? If you'd please come up and state your name and address, please.
Morning, board members. My name is Matt Drew. I am here because I'm the neighbor across the street, Block 57, between what's going on with rezoning. We have said no to it from the beginning. We were, the letter that we got was actually later than the first of the rezoning, and we are still saying no to what is going on. And I know my neighbors are behind me on this because we want to keep it country. We like the scenery. We don't want more vehicle impact that was going on right now. Right now, there's people flying down that road, going 90 miles an hour. We've seen them, we followed them, seeing how fast they were going. And when we put more and more houses up around there, it's gonna get more and more ridiculous. And with the farmers, you're just asking for an accident to happen. So why not just keep it the way it is? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to comment? Okay. Last call. All right, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Ms. Lindsay, so you're looking for a resetting of a public hearing on this for a later date? Do you have a date specific that you would like it reset for?
Don't you think 11/16, David? Or do you think,
Looking at
or
the
do you think
forecast,
we
it
should
should be
do,
all right.
or do you think we should just go the second, or the first Tuesday in December? You think that would be better?
Or can you just table it again and do it with third reading?
We can do that. We can always go there.
I think we have some dry weather in the forecast, so they might be able to tie up those loose ends, but I guess we'll see.
We could do 6/15 on 11/16/21.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to leave public hearing.
I think we're out of public hearing. If we're not, then are we not out of public hearing?
Yes, you want to move that.
Oh, sorry.
No, just
Okay.
a motion to reset the public hearing for,
Yep, I'll make a motion to, have a second reading, for the 16th day of November, 2021, at, would that be 6:15 p.m.?
No, there's already one set for 6:15, so 6:20.
6:20. Realty in regards to review the final plat 2 for Vista Ridge submitted by Land Holding LLC, 12119 Stratford Drive, Suite B, Klein, Iowa 50325.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I will point out that that's an evening meeting, sir. And so if there are some neighbors that want to weigh in, that might be a good opportunity for them to come and state their reasoning. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 6 is a public hearing regarding a review of final plat for Nicholson Estates Plat 1 submitted by Thomas Nicholson, 200 West Orchard Avenue, Indianola, Iowa 50125. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, we are in public hearing.
Okay, so this was a motion by Kane to recommend approval of Nicholson Estates final plat 1 to the Board of Supervisors, subject to providing the proper financial guarantees, finishing the road project, and any, those financial guarantees that finishes the road, and any other administrative matter that hasn't been dealt with as of tonight. That was a 5-0 recommendation of approval from the zoning commission. So the covenants have been submitted, the paperwork, that they were talking about was, they needed to have a opinion of a construction cost and submit that to David Carroll for review for the, road inside the, subdivision. And David has since reviewed that, and, because they are not going to do the work prior to the subdivision, so they have to post a letter of credit or, bond for that. And we do have the letter from People's Bank, and I have been in contact with Wes Rogers, which is the vice president of People's Bank, to just make sure that this letter did cover, that it says to purchase and develop the property, and he says, yes, it does cover the amount of the projection cost for the road, to go in. So they have submitted their, covenants, they've submitted that paperwork, so we pretty much have everything in order for, the, Nicholson Estates subdivision to go through, so.
Okay, we are in public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this? Please come up, state your name and your address, please, and who you're with.
Matthew Stedding, 2727 Southwest Snyder Boulevard, and I'm here representing Mr. Nicholson for his subdivision. So first of all, I'd just like to thank the board for having this meeting today. And I just want to say that we have tried to go through all the proper channels with everything, and thus far, like Lindsay said, we had gotten 4 recommendations from the B&C board to move to approval by the Board of Supervisors. So that's what we're here today seeking, is full approval of the final plat for the 10-lot executive subdivision. And if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to ask, and I will try to answer my best. The construction should be completed midsummer.
Thank you.
What company do you represent?
Snyder.
Snyder, okay,
Yep.
that's what I thought. Yeah, I've had some experience with them, and I just have a comment that, when I've talked to, Lindsay about this, she said, you know, I can't believe that they've never, that he's never developed property before, because he's done such a good job of following the procedures and being proactively getting out in front of things, so, I just have nothing but a positive feeling about this development.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to leave public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre. Peter.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
Ready for,
Yep. Do we have a motion? Or, Lindsay, what motion are you specifically looking for here to move us along on this one?
I feel it's ready to recommend to approve the final plat so they can start working on the legal documents to get it recorded with our office and, they have worked really hard. They've worked really hard with our office. They've done a lot of follow-up. They have dotted their i's and crossed their t's, not only just Snyder, but Tom himself has been very involved. You would think he had developed land before. He has definitely followed up and been very involved. And, so I do appreciate that. I do feel it is ready to go and, it'd be nice for them to be able to get the next step.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat for Nicholson Acres Plat 1, submitted by Thomas Nicholson, and waive the second and third readings.
second.
Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Congratulations. Motion carries. Number 7 through 18 are all ordinance changes and tweaks. Would you like those all to be done with one motion? Or would you like to take them individually?
I second the all-in-one motion.
All right, then it looks like we're on number 7, public hearing for approval of revised chapter 22, dangerous buildings, Warren County Code of Ordinances with possible action. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. We are in public hearing.
I still would like to be able to do that too, just did this one time, but sorry, maybe.
That's
So
okay.
chapter 22, dangerous buildings. We've worked with the environmental health department regarding this ordinance, health services department. The change to this ordinance is that the board would be able to hire a structural engineer when a building needs to be evaluated as to whether it is damaged beyond repair, 50% or 30% in other cases. We do not have a structural engineer on staff, and that is why we want the board to take that on rather than relying on folks in the department for environmental health that just do not have that experience. The county will also use this ordinance, or the county could also rely on Iowa Code Chapter 675A for abatement purposes, and that's where we would start with any building, is working through the abatement process. We are asking the board to approve the revised ordinance and waive the second and third readings.
Is there any discussion? Is there comments from the public on this one? Are there comments for our legal counsel or questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to leave public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the revised chapter 22, dangerous buildings, Warren County Code of Ordinances with, not with anything, and I'll waive the second and third readings.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is public hearing for approval of revised chapter 30th. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye, we are in public hearing.
Chapter 30 of the Warren County Code of Ordinances is general environmental health regulations. We worked again with the environmental health group regarding this ordinance. We're asking the Board of Supervisors to approve the revised ordinance. The two additions to this ordinance were in sections 30.04 and 30.08, both dealing with how to dispose of particular waste. The addition is that the public can consult with the county's designated landfill. At this time, that is South Central Iowa landfill. Given things change and Supervisor McIntyre brought that to my attention, we have now added the generic phrase, the county's designated landfill in that place. We would ask that the board approve the minor change to this ordinance and that the board waive the second and third reading.
Thank you, Don. Are there any comments from the public? Either in the room or online? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Do we have a motion regarding, I'll make a motion to approve revised chapter 30 and waive second and third reading.
Right.
Second.
And with the addition of the following sentence, in sections 30.04 and yard waste, 30.08, sanitary disposal, consult South Central Iowa landfill or designated landfill, regarding sanitary disposal of refuge.
Y'all consider that a friendly amendment? Do we still have a second
Yep,
on it?
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is a public hearing. This one's regarding revised chapter 35, county-owned public sanitary sewer systems. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We are in public hearing.
This is about chapter 35, the county-owned public sanitary sewer system. We worked with Kirk Baker, operator, regarding this ordinance. This ordinance governs the county's lagoon system in Liberty Center. Liberty Center is an unincorporated area, which is why the county is involved with this particular lagoon system. Minor revisions have been made. We are asking the Board of Supervisors to approve the revised ordinance and waive the second and third readings.
We are in public hearing. Are there any comments from the public, either online or in person? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve revised chapter 35, county-owned public sanitary sewer systems.
Second.
And waive second and third.
And waive second and third readings. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Kristen.
good teamwork.
welcome.
Thank you,
Good teamwork,
Supervisor
Kristen.
McIntyre.
And waive second, third reading. And I got a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is public hearing. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for approval of revised chapter 40, zoning, general provisions and regulations.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We are in public hearing.
This is in regards to chapter 40, general zoning, general provisions and regulations. We worked with the zoning administrator regarding this ordinance, and there will be minor revisions. We are asking the Board of Supervisors to approve the revised ordinance and waive the second and third readings. I also would like to say that all of the zoning ordinances have been amended through since we had the last codification of ordinances in 2015. Those amendments to those ordinances have been through public hearing and before the correct boards. We were just asking that the board approve the revised version and waive the second and third reading.
Make a motion to leave, public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve chapter 40, general provisions and regulations, and waive the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up, I'll make a motion to go into public hearing regarding revised chapter 41, zoning, districts and boundaries, Warren County Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, we are in public hearing.
Considering chapter 41, districts and boundaries and zoning, we work with the zoning administrator regarding this ordinance. We are asking the board of supervisors to approve the revised ordinance and waive the second and third readings.
Make a motion to leave public hearing?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Was there any discussion online or in the room? Okay. Motion and a second, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve chapter 41 districts and boundaries and waive the second and third readings.
Second?
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for approval of revised chapter 42 zoning, supplementary and qualifying regulations, Warren County Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
Once again, we have worked with the zoning administrator regarding this ordinance. We are asking the board of supervisors to approve the revised ordinance and waive second and third readings.
Make a motion to leave public hearing.
Second?
Was there any discussion from the public? Procedurally, there probably won't be, but just in case. Motion and a second, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the revised chapter 42 zoning, supplementary and qualifying regulations.
And waive.
And waive the second and third readings. Thank you.
Second.
Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. Make a motion to go into public hearing regarding revised chapter 43, zoning, enforcement, and administration.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, we are in public hearing.
Regarding chapter 43, zoning enforcement and administration, once again, we worked with the zoning administrator regarding this ordinance. We are asking the board of supervisors to approve the revised ordinance and waive the second and third readings.
Make a motion to leave public.
Would you ask if there's any public comments first?
Oh, that's Aaron's job.
Is there anyone from the public, either in the room or online, who has a comment regarding revised chapter 43? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second?
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Do we have a motion regarding chapter 43?
I'll make a motion to approve chapter 43 zoning, enforcement and administration and waive the second and third readings.
Second?
Any discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Next up is number 14 on our agenda. I'll make a motion to go into a public hearing regarding approval for revised chapter 44, airport height and hazard regulations.
Second?
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We are in a public hearing.
Chapter 44, airport height and hazard regulations has been revised with minor changes. We are asking that the board approve the revised ordinance and waive the second and third readings.
And some of these changes, is it just getting in accordance with state regulation?
It is.
Okay, we are in public hearing. Are there any comments from the public regarding this revision?
I'll make a motion to leave public hearing.
Second?
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve the revised chapter 44 airport height and hazard regulations and waive the second, third reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Next up, revised chapter 45. I'll make a motion to go into a public hearing regarding revised chapter 45 floodplain management ordinance.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We are in public hearing.
Chapter 45, floodplain management ordinance comes to the county through the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. The board has approved this ordinance in 2018. I'm just asking the board to consider confirming that approval and waive the second and third reading.
Is there any commentary or questions from the public?
Make a motion to leave public hearing.
Second?
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve revised chapter 45 floodplain management ordinance
What?
and waive the second and third reading.
Second?
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for the approval of revised chapter 46 subdivision regulations.
Second?
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We are in public hearing.
Chapter 46 subdivision regulations is the one we're considering now. We worked with the zoning administrator regarding this ordinance. We're asking the board of supervisors to approve revised ordinance and waive the second and third readings.
Okay, we're in public hearing. Are there any comments from the public? Anyone online? Is there anyone online at all?
Polly and conservation.
Polly. Okay. Seeing no comments from the public or questions, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
That was a tie. I give it to Crystal.
Give it to me, Tracy. Give it to me.
I've got a motion in a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve revised chapter 45 floodplain management ordinance and waive the second and third reading.
We're on subdivision regulations, chapter 46.
Excuse me. I'll make a motion to approve revised chapter 46 subdivision regulations and waive the second, third reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. I noted that our legal counsel set my favorite one for last. She's trying to keep engagement. All right, number 17. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for approval of revised chapter 47 historic preservation, Warren County Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Darren got you.
I got
Roll
you.
call.
Now I
Roll
know
call,
I
please.
got that one.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We're in public hearing.
Members of the board may recall that chapter 47 was revised kind of extensively in 2020. The board approved that ordinance revision on May 5th, 2020. We're just asking the board consider reapproving the revised ordinance and waive the second and third reading.
Understood. Is there anyone from the public or online who would like to comment or ask a question regarding revised chapter 47? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve chapter 47 historic preservation and waive the second and third readings.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 18. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for the repeal of section 9.17 sunset clause and the approval of the revised chapter 9 registration and operation of all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, utility task vehicles, and off-road vehicles, UTVs, Warren County Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We are in public hearing.
The Board of Supervisors approved this ordinance in December 2020. The ordinance contains a sunset clause as follows. This ordinance sunsets on December 31st, 2021, and then is subject to review by the Warren County Board of Supervisors. Any violations of this ordinance that have not yet been adjudicated may still be litigated. We are asking that the board repeal section 9.17 sunset clause, approve the revised resolution, and waive the second and third readings.
Is there any discussion, questions, or comments from the public?
I think there was one addressed to the board, a complaint.
That came in this morning.
I have it yesterday afternoon,
Yeah, it's probably.
yeah. She said, it's by Kathy Ayers. I don't have a address. It's ATV, UTVs. These have always been a nuisance in my neighborhood and especially within Glen Road. I accepted and understand the new ordinance that was approved by the board, but the roads in my neighborhood that are marked on the map as prohibited have some of the most activity of these vehicles. These roads include Gear Street from Highway 28 to 70th and 70th to Fulton to R57, 73rd and Fulton to R24. I would appreciate it if the no riding on these roads could be marked, not just on a map. The dust this summer and the heavy resident traffic made these roads dangerous. That's the only complaint I've ever heard.
Okay. And I'm not trying to put words in her mouth or speak for her, but it seems like the complaint was more geared towards, was less geared towards actual usage, although maybe she did call him a nuisance, so I'm guessing she's not a fan, but it seemed like it was more of a, hey, the road's not permitted, but it's happening, as opposed to some road in southern Warren County that it's happening on that's legal, so there is some legality issues. That seems like it's more of an enforcement issue versus
Yes.
should UTVs and ATVs be prohibited elsewhere in the county, but just my take.
I agree, that's what it is.
And honestly, we did a map for a reason. We tweaked the map quite a bit last year to try to be accommodative and to split the difference on some people that were vastly in favor of it and some that were, really opposed to it. So, I mean, enforcement's a different animal, I suppose. Okay. Any discussion or questions, comments? I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Do we have a motion regarding repeal of section 9.17 sunset clause and approval of revised chapter 9?
I'll make a motion to repeal of section 9.17 sunset clause and approval of the revised chapter 9, registration and operation of all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, utility task vehicles, and off-road vehicles, UTVs, and waive the second and third reading.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, board. I would like to say that we have one more chapter, chapter 1, Code of Ordinances, which will be brought before the board on November 16th. Then it will come before the board on December 21st and ask for codification, approved codification of the ordinances after holding that public hearing on December 21st. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Yeah, that whole process is probably some of the least glamorous aspects of what government does, but it needs to happen, and it needs to happen in a certain order and way. So, thank you, Don. Number 19 is consider memorandum of understanding regarding supplemental food program services with possible action. Good morning, Betsy.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. I have before you, we had this on the agenda probably a month and a half ago. It's an agreement between Morgan County and Polk County regarding the supplemental food program. A little bit of background on the commodity supplemental food program. It's administered by DHS and a part of the federal farm bill. Essentially what Polk County, they're the ones that try to administer the program. What they do is they charge back Warren County $5 per box of food for like gas charges, volunteer time, truck maintenance, those type of things to actually get that. It's not really for the actual food that's coming into our county. So they have a minimum of 100 boxes or a minimum of $500 charge each month, and then they can have up to 200, so it could be anywhere from $500 to $1,000 per month. This is out of the general assistance budget, which is why I am before you today. I did get some numbers a little bit, because just so you kind of know, we have dropped significantly during COVID, so we are under 100 individuals getting those boxes, but we are paying that minimum. I did ask a little bit of clarification if there was any consideration in dropping that minimum, just because we have seen that drop. They did point out that they haven't changed the amount they charge Warren County for about 20 years, so they weren't looking at changing that minimum, which I guess I can kind of understand. So it is before you. It's a 3-year agreement. I've been a part of this. Will be my second one that I've been a part of since I've been the general assistance director.
And a quick question, in the event that, let's say, with real numbers, if there was a need for 75 boxes, but they drop off 100, we pay the 500, what happens with the remaining 25? Do they get donated to the food pantry or somewhere else? I mean,
They don't, although there's a minimum, it's basically a minimum charge. It's a $500 minimum charge. They're only gonna bring the food boxes for the amount of people that they actually have signed up for the program.
Okay, so we're not collecting
yeah.
extra boxes and
Correct.
passing out, they're passing it out or dispersing, I got it.
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't waste in the
Yeah,
event that we
no,
were getting
absolutely.
extra boxes, but.
Yep, for sure. I do think it's a program that I will probably get with Helping Hand just to make sure that they're aware of the program. It is for individuals 60 years and older, so it's just kind of another resource that people have for food.
And what are we averaging? How many boxes? I mean, are we at 50? Are we at 70? Are we
No,
at
we
30?
are, so we've been averaging probably right around 89-ish, so we're not too far off. And again, we've seen a drop off. We were over 100 back at the end of 2020, so really we've just kind of seen a drop off here in 2021. So I'm not sure the cause of that. I know in the past we've even been up in the like 120s, probably pre-COVID. So I think it's just, we don't administer the program. We have people call going to get set up with that food delivery process. So I think it's one of those things that we can do a better job probably of referring people there and to get those numbers up. That's my thought when I look at the numbers. I'm like, okay, let's get with Sue at Helping Hand and make sure she's aware of the resource, because she sees a lot of people coming into there to get food. And so that would be just another resource for people to have. They can access and get a little bit more food. Eligible boxes, I can kind of just tell you, so I can receive an option of canned meat, fish, juices, fruits, vegetables, cereal, cheese, peanut butter, beans, pasta, rice, box or powdered milk. So they do get quite a bit of substantial food.
Good. And I've got a lot of faith in you that you'll work with Helping Hand. I'm not looking to like press it. If there's not a need, there's not a need. That's fine. That's probably that is a good thing. But on the other hand, my strong suspicion is that there's probably more than 100 folks on a monthly basis that could and probably should benefit from it. So
it's for 60 and over, and we don't see a lot of those individuals coming into our office with general assistance, but I'm guessing that they're seeing them in other places. So
yeah.
I'll start maybe reaching out to nutrition and some others just to make sure that we're covering all of our bases, just reminding people about the program.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt the memorandum of understanding regarding the supplemental food program services.
Second.
Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you again, Betsy. Number 20, discussion of new collections assistant in county attorney's office with possible action.
You want me to grab Jamie?
Yeah, we'll come back to 20. Looks like Kirk's here. 21 and 22. 21 we'll tackle first. Discuss contract extension for Cosman cleaning crew with possible action.
Hello. So what this is just an extension of the current contract that we have with them. With the Justice Center gonna be coming online not until, I think what, July. We just wanted to extend that out, and then we wanted to get RFPs out and get this all rebid. The 3-year contract is up, and so in order to make it more fair for everyone to look at the building, I wanted it to be a little more finished. I didn't think it'd be fair to go, here's the building, when we don't have all the rooms done. So, I'm just asking, they wanna continue with their current contract and price, so they're willing to stay steady on that, and then when we come up, we'll get some bids out and do that, so I just asked them for approval for that one.
Okay, let's take that one first. Are there any questions for Kirk?
What do we pay for, cleaning services for our current facilities?
Pretty sure it's 14,000 a month, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 7,200, when she sends me the bill, so it's,
Does she send you a bi-weekly or a bi-monthly bill? So, okay. And does that include more than the administration building? Is that?
it's all our buildings.
Okay, all of our buildings.
And even out to conservation, they have I'm not exactly sure their schedule, cause I set that up with her. But, some of the buildings are more, some buildings are less, but yeah, it'd be all of county buildings.
Okay. Let's make a quick comment. I do appreciate that, it's gonna seem like flat isn't, historically, from my perspective, I like to see things go down. I like to see a premium go down or insurance coverage or whatever. That's how you get hit. But I'm telling you, in this environment, flat is pretty darn good. So I'm pleased with their extension number that they came at us with flat. So I'll make a motion to approve the contract extension for Cosman.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is 22. Discuss contract extension for Jake's Lawn and Landscape with possible action.
Now, this was a little on the opposite. It did go up. He asked me for it to go up. But it would be for the current properties that he already takes care of through April. And we would do the same thing. And we wanted to get both of these contracts on the same time frame. They were separate, they were ending at different times. And so we wanna try to get it married together, so we could send them all out at one time and make it a lot easier for us to manage. And so we went from 1,800 to 3,150. It was 33, he came down to 3,150, which
1,800 per what period?
month.
And he went to 3,150 per month. And how many properties does he take care of?
3.
Administration building, West Annex, House of Mercy. And that did include at one time the court facility or up on the square. But right now, no.
And he does snow removal too?
Yes.
And of course, he claimed inflation, so,
I don't think that's 50%. I know I know there is inflation.
Okay. My thoughts on it are, I'm okay doing the extension. I'd then like to see an RFP sent out to anyone else who's interested in doing it. My other take is I know that that seems like a pretty solid figure, but you gotta remember that there are times where folks are mowing, you know, if we get rainy, cooler temperatures, grass, you know, we might need to mow once or twice a week. And equipment, I mean, none of it's cheap. I'm just trying to think back to what our church contract is for snow removal and yard, and I mean, it adds up in a hurry, so, I mean, while I liked the 1,800, that seems like it was pretty reasonable. 3,150 is certainly a substantial jump, but I'm guessing if we go out to contract, we're gonna see some pretty high numbers too. So, I don't know, but my take is let's get it approved, and then open it up to everyone who has you know, maybe there's someone who's hungry and wants to try to come in under, and we'll look at it later. So.
I mean, you gotta take into account that he hasn't had the courthouse to do, you know, with his original number of 1,800, like that's a pretty significant, green space and the snow removal around that place, and, you know, that was, reduced from his workload. And so I mean, my position is we could go up, if it were me and I was, you know, in charge of maintenance, I'd go out and get a bid or two from somebody else. There are multiple companies in Warren County that do snow removal and landscaping.
Right.
I mean, I'd say more than 15. So not to check in with them or get a little bid package prepared and check out would be my position.
I'm wondering if that we go out to bid is gonna be a lot higher. I don't know, I have no idea what the market is right now.
But if you go out to bid, you don't necessarily lose your current supplier. Like I think you can always, your second position could be, well, we'll keep it in place, but what would it take, a week to go out and get a new number on what we wanna do? And then we would know. But, I mean, that's a big jump.
So when does this one expire?
April 30th.
22.
22.
So between now and then, I'd be having RFPs go out, rebid the whole thing. That would make sure we're including the new Justice Center, and then whoever we get to bid on it, you know. Because right now, what we've done too is we've had, the last contract was you had to be a mowing company along with snow removal. So we weren't dealing with two different entities. And he had to be one of them. We only had a couple of people back then that came forward and wanted to try it.
In my previous life, when I did snow removal for our church and these contracts, I would send it out to companies. So could that be something you could do to companies here in Warren County? That'd be.
Sure.
Okay.
Has this contract already, is it expired?
It has.
Okay. Well, why don't we just push this off till that I mean, there's probably not a lot of snow between now and that next meeting, and there's certainly not a lot of yard stuff to do between now and the next meeting. Why don't we just give you a sort of an abbreviated time frame to check in and see if there's something else. Otherwise, I'm just telling you, I still am in favor of it. I don't like the percentage increase at all, but I still am in favor of it, just so we've covered our bases and are under contract until April. What we don't need to have happen is to have this company say, okay, well, I'm out, that's fine, and then not have someone in there or to get stuck and say, hey, the new price to remove and push snow is up and up substantially. Gas is what, $4? You know, they gotta run trucks, and it's not cheap. So my guess is that might be the market, but I don't know. So why don't you take 2 weeks, or whatever we've got between now and the next one, and we'll leave his contract or whatever term we're in going forward until then, and then you can bring this back and we'll either approve this or we'll do something else.
Sounds good.
Okay.
still wasn't, well, I tried to get it to come down, but.
You did.
Yeah.
Come down a little.
Very.
Well, I'd like to have an answer though by that next meeting, and assuming that he's still good with that, we'll either go with that or we'll go another direction. But I want it to be, I want to be under contract because I don't need to have a foot of snow and no one pushing it.
Right.
Or to pay the rate, whatever the spot rate charge is to get someone to come. We're gonna have to call Vanderpool and have them move some stuff out here, and clear off our drive. I don't know if he'll do it.
I mean, 12 events, for like a 6-month period, it's 20 grand is what the fee is for 12 events to me. I don't know, I mean, I haven't checked, I don't know, and I think it's, the path of least resistance is just to approve the contract and go on about your business. I think we owe it to our public to go out and make sure we're getting the best price for the services. And I think there's a lot of companies who'd like to do business with Warren County. We're pretty good customer, so.
Well, our checks don't bounce and we usually pay people, so yes.
We pay on time, so.
Here you go.
I don't think it hurts to, I think it's just good business to go out and check
No, I
this stuff
agree.
out.
I agree.
Okay.
I was waiting on this number, that's why I didn't have the opportunity to really fire that out.
We'll have an answer in early December.
Appreciate it, Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt. All right, supervisor's report. Would you like to go first? Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
You're blocked, Jamie. We'll go back to number 20, discussion new collections assistant in county attorney's office with possible action. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. So we posted our position and we have selected someone for the position. And the range that we had originally talked about was between 35 and 42. And we are proposing to bring her in at the top end of that level, which is a significant pay cut for her to come here, but she's excited to come work for the county.
Does she have a background in collections or a background in?
She has done, she's been involved in a lot of banking, insurance, that kind of field, working a lot of customer service.
Awesome. And just for the public's benefit, this is a sort of assisting in the collections. We have quite an overdue outstanding balance of fines and fees for Warren County. So when someone stays in our jail or goes to Marion County, that's not free. It's not, it comes with a cost. And so we try to recoup that cost, further helping deter folks from making poor life choices and going to said prison or jail. But this job is helping collect some of those. And so we sort of ran the numbers in a work session recently, and I don't always try to fix every problem with additional staff. That's not the way that I operate, but as we ran the numbers and we looked at the nexus, the delta of sort of what's outstanding, we feel pretty comfortable that conservatively we should be able to make the salary back plus benefits plus additional resources for the county. So I'm not saying it's paid for or paid for, but I'd sure hope it is.
That's our goal.
That is the goal. We'll have to reassess at a future budget time if we're woefully falling short of it. But if that's the direction it's going, I think it'll be a good position. So
It would be nothing, it would be, for us to go out and get $1 million from these fines is not, it's not a task that we think is overwhelming. So the whole goal is to go out and collect the fees that are owed to Warren County and Warren County residents. With this, it's kind of gonna, it's a experience, like, let's try to go get our revenue that's owed us. So it's gonna be a really interesting development on if we're how successful we are. It could be that we wanna hire another person this area of the county could grow. We'll see how it goes, but.
Right. Currently, we're not doing anything and we don't have the staff to put somebody, it's a position that, it's a task that's going to take somebody on our side and somebody on the sheriff's side to figure out our resources and get these funds coming back where they need to be, so.
you're very bright, Jamie, and you just saw the range. I was hoping for pay for of salary and benefits. Supervisor Heater wants $1 million.
I got.
If we fall between the range, I will be happy. A million might seem a little, I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope I
Darren,
am
I
too.
hope you're right.
That's an optimistic approach for sure, but we'll see.
That would be,
Don't hold me to it.
that'd be a great thing. All right, do we don't, we've already approved the hire, haven't we?
It was discussed in
It
the
was-
work session.
Yeah, so now you just need to approve the final.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the new collections assistant in the county attorney's office.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye, motion carries, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Jamie, one last thing, when will he or she start?
She's starting on the 17th.
Hey, make sure, oh, sorry to interrupt if I did, Aaron, but
You're-
there is an issue with like new hire paperwork right now. Lenee's got 18 packets on her desk of partially completed paperwork, so please
Yes, I've been
facilitate
working
that.
with Heather already on it.
Good,
Yeah.
awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Supervisors report, who would like to go first?
I can go first. I had an interesting meeting last week with, I was asked to attend a Helping Hand meeting here in Indianola, and the Helping Hand director, Sue Wilson, had asked that the city of Indianola and the county and the local police department and our general services director, it was a group of about 20 people, even our old supervisor Doug Scholl and our economic development people were there, because we all are sharing the burden of, you know, what are we doing? We're seeing just a slight issue with homeless and food insecurity here in Indianola, and it's the question is, what do we do about it? And from a Helping Hand perspective, it's affordable housing, and they identified about 10 families that don't have a substantial residence this time. So it was a very good discussion about what is incumbent on Warren County, what is incumbent on the city, what is incumbent on our residents to help these people in need, and what is a comprehensive solution, because just doing affordable housing may or may not help. Is this more of a treatment thing, a mental illness issues? It was just a really good dialogue, and we're just in the beginning stages, but it would be my desire to stay involved from a county perspective, to follow this, to support this, to try to figure this out, because I think it's an opportunity for Warren County to maybe figure something out here. How do we handle this? What's innovative? What's a new approach? What are new thoughts? Because if you talk to the police departments about this, they have one perspective. If you talk to our general assistance director, she has a different perspective. There were about 5 different perspectives on how to handle this, and I think we're all right. So it's going to take kind of a multifaceted approach to figure this out. But it was really interesting, and we have a lot of talented people that are working on this. That was the one thing I took away, is we have a lot of intelligence and a lot of history and a lot of knowledge, and I think it's just a function of bringing all of this together into something that is workable from a resource perspective. You know, we could throw tons of resources at this, and we may or may not fix the problem. So it's going to be a really good project, and I'm looking forward to it. I've attended some zoning stuff with Lindsay. I had a meeting with David in our engineering department about financially, how are we going to build our new building, what kind of term are we going to use regarding the financing, and that was a couple weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to report out on that. There's also an issue of fiber getting out to our new engineering building and getting to conservation, and I've tried to pull IMU loose a little bit and get some information back to David for his budget, and we're working to how much is that going to cost. We need to know that, and IMU is aware that we need to know that, and hopefully David will get his answers as quickly as he can. I've been working on a House of Mercy analysis. What value does House of Mercy bring to Warren County? That's still in progress. And I think I need to learn more about that from people within the county that are more involved with that, and that'll be the next step. I've met with HR a couple of times. They've got an issue with new hire paperwork. The new policies that we could be looking at relative to sick leave pools. I've kind of put that, my HR issues, I've asked Lene to look into them. And she's, I think, doing a good job, but she's already bogged down with, she's getting stuck in payroll because new hire paperwork's not coming in. And she just is gonna ask for our leadership's help to get that paperwork in. And I think that'll get things pulled loose there. There's also, we have a West Roads, we have a contract on our West Roads office where our sheriff is at right now. And I think we need to look at how we terminate that because they're gonna need some time. Like there's a 6-month notification window on that. So I've been working with the sheriff on what's the timing on them moving over to the Justice Center and when do we want to officially terminate that contract? And the landlord knows that's coming. It's just a function of executing the termination. I've met with some local residents, Chad and Amber Martin. They've got an issue with one of our new projects we're working on. Lindsay and I were involved in that meeting. They were very nice people. It was really a good example of people that are concerned about what we're doing from a development standpoint. And they came in, were very calm and had some good issues. And so we're working through that. I met with Brenda Easter and Aaron Freiberg. Aaron Freiberg is a local business owner down on the square. One of my biggest hot buttons is that I hear about parking pretty consistently down on the square. And so we sat down and talked to them about what's the county doing about the parking issue down there? What's our construction manager doing? And we've laid out what we're doing. And it was a good meeting. I think it's a function of communication. I mean, people think we're not doing anything over here or that the county's we don't care about parking downtown, we're just bypassing it. It's not the case. We're working on it. I've taken the nutrition director and the sheriff met me at the Warren County Justice Center and we went through the kitchen over there because our food program is changing. We're gonna be producing about 500 meals a day out of our new commercial kitchen over at the Justice Center. And how do we combine that with the congregate meals? How does our food director get what she needs to produce that level of meals on a daily basis? It's a big undertaking. We've never done anything like this before at this volume. So there's some considerations on what resources and how that's gonna all come together. Multiple other meetings, multiple other special meetings and work sessions, but that's pretty much my report for now.
Thank you, Supervisor Heater. Supervisor McIntyre.
All right, thank you. All right, we had a pretty long list because I didn't get a report of the last board meeting. So we had a site map discussion of the new county website with Gradient 9. Insurance renewal board meeting. We had 2 board of supervisors closed sessions. Warren County Safety Insurance Quarterly meeting. The engineer, several different issues, Jewel Street, other issues throughout the county. 2 work sessions and a 6 rig meeting. Attended the Sandyville City Council meeting where the mayor opened up the meeting but then left because he is resigning and no one is on the ballot in Sandyville. So the meeting was about the town coming together and doing a write-in for the 5 positions that are available on their city council as well as their mayor position. So it looks like they are successfully doing a write-in campaign for all of those positions. And I look forward to the results. Also attended a staff meeting here at Warren County, Region 15, 700 megahertz and 800 megahertz regional planning committee meeting. Also met with current interim city clerk for Wacona to make sure that their folks are also running for their city government, council, and mayor positions. concerning various issues throughout my district and the county. Met with the zoning director twice, attended an ISAC Supervisors Continuing Education Committee meeting. We also held our hazard mitigation planning meeting. This is where all of the jurisdictions, taxing jurisdictions within Warren County meet every 5 years to come up with mitigating their hazards within their sphere of influence, and also writing down a list of needs to mitigate those hazards. And should said funding come up for that, they'll be eligible according to that planning. And it's also incumbent upon the county to have this plan approved to be able to accept any federal funding. The 5th Judicial District Department of Corrections Board of Directors meeting. Also attended an impact board meeting for the board of directors. Warren County Emergency Management Commission executive board meeting. And been working on continuing presentation of our Emergency Management Commission transfer of dispatch. So,
Thank you. In addition to our regular meetings, our special meetings, and work sessions, I will say I do appreciate our work sessions. We're holding those pretty regularly, and we certainly have quite a bit to get through. But it's a really good. They're usually on Tuesdays, but it's a really good way to put what the business of the county out there in a discussion-only format, so we can sort of build some consensus on where we're going with things, and so we don't have to spend quite so much time hashing things out in our regular twice-a-month board meetings. A lot of what you'll see on our agenda is sort of flows from those work session meetings, so they're good to attend or watch online. You can kind of see which direction things seem to be going. In addition, met with the sheriff and the county attorney regarding a couple different things, one of which was EMA and dispatch. We met with the engineer on a number of items, some of which were in the district, some of which were my district, some of which were just out in the county. Also had a conversation with DA Davidson regarding interest rates. For those that aren't maybe following those very closely, they seem to be going up, and that's sort of a function of inflation, as well as I think the Fed's likely tapering soon, as well as probably the FOMC board is it's pretty smart money bet that they're going to be raising rates a couple times next year, and so interest rates appear to be going up. We don't know when, and no one has a crystal ball, but for those that are doing large projects, locking into lower rates makes a lot of sense to me. So it's just something to be cognizant of. Had some conversations with some Warren County residents regarding an issue that I don't think has been discussed much here, although I've certainly heard some about it, and that is sanctuary county status. A 2A county. There's a number of counties in Iowa that are 2A sanctuary counties. Did talk to the sheriff a little bit about that too, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some more information coming on that issue in the nearish term. Had some meetings and then follow-up meetings. I think we did that one in a work session, but it's something I'm proud about. I didn't do it, but this board and the board before have sort of made some changes regarding our healthcare plan for our county employees, and what you'll see is that the board has added a high deductible healthcare plan option, and that I will concede is not for everyone. I get it, it isn't. There are some folks that doesn't make sense for, and so there's the regular PPO plans as well. But a number of people have signed up for those, and because of that, in large part, our healthcare costs have stayed relatively flat in an era where other counties are up 15 to 20%, and that's a lot. I mean, that's a big expense on the expenditure line for a county. I think ours were somewhere around 2 to 3% was the increase for our healthcare plan. Our dental plan also went up, and the county's share of that actually was like 1.2 or 1.5, and so it's up a little bit, but 1 or 2% versus 15% when you have 160 plus people plus family members on the plan. It's a very significant figure. Our county started that high deductible healthcare plan and a HSA component to it, where for folks that sign up for it, the county contributes some money financially to the HSA plan to help get it started, and ultimately it becomes a little less expensive for the county to manage those. So it was just something that I was pleased about recently. Hat tip to the Iowa legislature. Redistricting happens after censuses every 10 years, and some states get it right, and some states muddle around with it terribly bad. I think the history on it's not great, but for as much as anyone in the world can complain about redistricting, I think our House vote was like 92% or whatever of them voted for it to approve the new map. The new maps are out. The county, so that's House and Senate races, seats, as well as our congressional districts. Warren County looks to be out of the 3rd and into the 2nd, so that will be a change. Our state Senate map changed some, it kind of shrunk because we're growing. Our 2 House seats also shrank as far as land mass, again because of growth. But that was sort of the sticking point for our own redistricting conversation here. But we'll have to look at our supervisor maps as well. Warren County now is 52-ish thousand people, and so the lines on the supervisor map are probably, well, they will be tweaked as well. And so I've had some conversations both with the assessor's office and some other folks regarding what that might look like. So that's moving forward. What was I gonna say? I have not forgotten about a promise that I made. I try to fulfill them if I make them. I try not to make too many because I don't have to fulfill so many. But I did make a promise.
Smart man.
It's just like my dad used to say, you don't ever lie, because it's too hard to keep track of it. You just tell the truth, and then you say the truth, and it's, you don't have to figure out what you said. But I did make a promise that I would put to a vote, or I would be in support of it putting to a vote, and I think we're there, to see if the folks in Warren County wanted to go to a 5-member supervisor board. I said I'm not going to work hard on one way or the other to try to influence people, but that is something that's still on my radar screen, especially after the redistricting happens. I just think that from my perspective, having 5 has some benefits, it has some drawbacks. Having 3 has some benefits, it has some drawbacks. But what I mostly care about is how folks are elected here to sit in the seat. I think that every one of us represents more than our district. For folks that just represent their district, I think that's a shallow and short-sighted way to do it, because ultimately we all work for Warren County, and we should have a county-wide influence, or county-wide. We should be not beholden, but we should be listening to everyone in the county and not just the folks just from our district who can elect us. But that makes for a difficult situation when the folks that elect you or elect future supervisors, you're going to listen a little more to them because they're going to determine whether or not you sit in the seat. So there's some options to the plans that I think also would need voter approval, but I would be willing to open it up to let the people of Warren County decide what they want for the board. If they want 3, fine. If they want 5, fine. If they want to have the entirety of the county vote for each district, fine. You can change the plans, but I'm fine letting people pick whatever sort of government that they want, or at least the process of the government. That would make sense to me, but the one thing that I will push for, whether it's 3 or 5, and whether that's in redistricting or if we go to 5, and that'll certainly happen, is I think it's really important, and this piggybacks off my conversation about representing all of Warren County versus the district. I think it's critical that future boards, the districts themselves, whether it's voted on by the entire population or just their district, it's a little more even split between rural and urban. And so, for example, if you take Norwalk and Cumming, that's the main population base in District 1, and there is some rural there as well. You know, it's probably 80-20, maybe 90-10 urban or incorporated city versus unincorporated, and it's probably more so depending on how you view Greenfield Plaza. If you look at Supervisor Heater's district, it's probably 80-20 in Norwalk. Supervisor Heater's district is probably 95-5, and Crystal's district is certainly a little better split, but probably 70% rural, 30% because of Carlisle would be my guess. But I think it'd be nice to have a little better split between the supervisors of incorporated versus unincorporated, and so that would involve maybe taking a run at breaking up Indianola and breaking up Norwalk and Cumming to get a little bit better split, so that you're not just listening to people that have curb and gutter and sidewalks and paid fighters and everyone else. But we'll take a look at that. I think that those might happen. I know that the state has some preferences in how they do it as well. So potentially with 3, that's not as easy to do, but we're gonna take a look at it. Kirk has the maintenance position submitted. We'll like to see how that goes, but it looks like our maintenance staff needs some additional beefing up. We'll see how interviews go and what sort of applicants we have. And I will also say, I discussed this in this work session, but the mental health levy rate for the county is a per capita number, but I'll let people know that the state of Iowa is picking up mental health funding, and so every year historically, CICS, the mental health region that we belong to in Warren County, puts out a number and they collect the number. Next year, our number will drop, and we don't control it. It's part of the tax bill, but we don't have any control over it. Starting next year, it looks like the state's going to pick it up, and so the drop in the mental health levy rate will be 39 cents per thousand evaluation. So between that, as well as some increase in valuation, as well as some increase in growth between commercial and residential that are probably in arrears, it looks like next year Warren County should have a pretty good revenue number to work with. I'll be interested to see what that looks like at budget time, but it looks like we're starting down 39 cents, which is good in my book. In addition to making sure folks get a vote on what the supervisor board looks like, what the districts might even look like, and what plan we fall under, I think there might be another vote maybe next August, and I wanted to put that on people's radar screen. I'm going to call it, for lack of a better term, Warren County Four Corners idea, infrastructure idea, and our engineer has brought forth some plans to do some real work on a number of different roads, about 25 miles-ish of highways, and spread out between 4 areas in Warren County. So S23 would be one, some on G76 would be some, Scotch Ridge Road, I think was one, and what was the other one, G58? And R57. So our engineers identified 4 areas that would be greatly benefited by work all at once. And so, you know, we certainly don't have the budget to do 25 miles of road all at once. And so I think that we're gonna start working that up a little bit and seeing if the people are interested in doing that. I think it'd be a good way for the engineer to really get ahead and to get some of those roads that are in really bad shape into much better shape all with one fell swoop. And so I would say more to come on that, but we'll see. But we're gonna let some people in Warren County have some votes next year to determine what and how they want to do things. Would be my preference, and then the chips fall where they fall. So just giving you a little bit of a heads up there. Last and not least, today is election day. State and local races are occurring. I think that it's sort of sad commentary that we've got throughout the year. You'll hear a lot of complaints. You'll hear a lot of people that are upset about this or that. And then there's an opportunity to get on the ballot and be the change yourself. And what we see are not a lot of people wanting to step up and run for anything, whether it's a school board, some cities are a little different, or city council, or a mayor race. And so, to those that did run, thank you and good luck. For those that are able to vote, you've got till tonight. Please go out and vote, figure out who aligns with you, and vote your values. So with that, that's all I got. Public input.
As a follow-up on what you just said, and following Crystal and the design of the new webpage, it would be nice to be able to have a link so we can get results rather than going to the state or various things. It would be nice to be able to
Agree.
fixing that for us people. Des Moines stations don't recognize us
Mm-hmm.
down here.
No, that's a wonderful idea. I'd love to see that on the auditor's website or updated website page. It won't happen for tonight, but for future elections, that would be a great thing. It'd be nice to have it all in one place that's easy and accessible that they could upload to. Is there any other public comments or public input? Okay. Our next meeting, November 16, 2021, 6 p.m. That's our evening meeting. That's for your benefit. For if you're unable to attend a morning meeting, perhaps you can attend an evening meeting if you're so inclined. With that, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. We are